Hi everyone and welcome to Outdoor Dad 1. Thank you for joining me. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Particularly subscribe, it really helps the channel out. And today we're going to have a look at custom fit guards. I fancied a set of these. I wanted some nice fitting ear protection, and I think we're going to have a little chat about general ear protection and safety. But yeah, we're going to have a look at these. I hope everybody's had a nice weekend celebrating victory in Europe anniversary. Custom fit guards, they've come in this lovely little pouch, like a little padded pouch to protect him, keep all the parts safe. I ordered these on the 14th of February. I've had them a week or so now. I've worn them twice. A bit of a wait delivery, but they come in this. We've got in the box. Now, because I was having to wait a little bit for me electronic hearing aid, the digi side of the custom fit guards, they let me have the passive filters. So obviously these aren't magnifying the microphone. They're just a very, just a passive. And I have to say, I think for clay pigeon shooting, I probably will use these over the electronic digital earplugs. And mostly because I think I get a bit easily distracted, and I think these are probably adequate for what I'm doing. They also come with a little wax removing probe here. So if you get some debris in there, you can pick that out. And these are the little digital devices that clip into these custom fit, as the name suggests, earplugs. So I was at the shooting show, and me and my friends, we decided we were going to have these. So we didn't have to pay extra for the man to come out and take the moulds. You can go down to their facility and get it done for free. We had them done for free at the show in February. And I have to say that the comfort and the fit of these is really nice. I wasn't sure what to expect. And I can put them in and I don't fiddle with them. And they stay in there really securely. They come with a little selection of batteries. So I've got my batteries here. If I want to put some more batteries in, they come with those. And basically, we just pop open this door. Might just take a battery out for you, just so I can show you how they come in there. I'll use their little wax ear probe just to help pop it out. There we are. We've got this little gate, drops down, and the battery just ever so gently drops in and then closes up. And then they're ready to go into the earplug. I'm going to pop them in now. I'm just going to pop out my little clear passive ones. Very good of them to let me have these. So I've got those passive ones. Now I think, like I say, I'll probably use these more than the digital ones. The digital ones I will use on my hunting, basically. So when I'm rough shooting or at the driven shoot, I shall have my hearing aid style digital popped in, and I think we've got 4 settings. Now then, before we go bobbing them in, lubrication. I've just got some random lubricant, Vaseline or whatever you've got, and I have to say, to get them in, it's a lot easier. Little dab of this, just rub it round the ear roll, each ear roll, because the material that they're made of, they do pop in. They are a really nice, snug, secure fit, and getting them in without the lube is a bit of a faff, to be honest, and it's obviously suggested in the instructions, and it works really well. So we've got red is right, and she pops straight in. There we are. So that's setting 2. Now, I have to say, I do find with these that there is a little bit of white noise on the higher settings. So on 1, 2 and 3, I think there's a little bit of a little hum. Now, I've spoken to my friends. They can hear it on some of the early settings, like say setting 1, which is basically your hunting setting. So it really amplified. If a bird breaks cover, you can hear it. So that's the idea behind them. So obviously not for clay pigeon shooting. We can turn them down. 3 is quite nice. I would think if I was hunting, I'd probably just go with the 3. And then today for clay pigeon shooting, I've gone with a 4. Yeah, and that's very nice, and that's basically how they work. Like I say, once you've got them lubed up and into your ear, they are really quite comfy, and you'd never get them out. They come out with like a little pop. Yeah, snug. There we go. And once they're out, so we've got a little indicator dot left and right. This is the little button, and we've got the different sound level is indicated by a little beep. So when I've got that in my ear, I can go beep, setting 1, and obviously 4 beeps, all 4 settings, and then it'll go back to 1. So they don't really turn off, but they have a little latch there, and you can pop the battery out, and it's recommended that you just pop the battery out because the batteries can leak, obviously, if you was to leave it in there a long time. And this is how I store my custom fit guards. I just drop that little door open on both of them, just like that, and I bob them back. I've got my little ear pick, I keep that in there, hooked on with my spare batteries if ever I should need them. And I've also got my little passive filters, like I say, which I'll probably end up using a bit more than the digital ones. Now, like I say, £399 in the UK. So they really, you've got to be well and truly into what you're doing to warrant buying these. I have to say that obviously nearly it's the £699 mark for the pros. So they're even dearer again. Now, comfort, stunning comfort. Like I say, they really do pop in. The lubrication's important. Tried putting them in without any lubricant on, and I was sat there pushing at it, and I was messing about, and I messed about. In the end, I just went and found some out of the bathroom cupboard, some skin balm, tiniest little smudge inside the ears, and they pop straight in, really comfy. So I keep my little pop of lubricant in my clay shooting bag with all my other little things, and they're my custom fit guards. Now, like I say, I've been shooting with them today. I find them very good. They are sensitive to the wind. I think the Pro with the wind dampener on them is probably beneficial. But like I say, we are talking a very expensive set at that point. When I turn them down to 4, The wind isn't as much of an issue. I can still hear perfectly well. They're still cancelling out the sound of all the shots plus my own shots. Now, when it comes to earplugs, I find that some plugs can make you feel a bit dizzy, particularly when I was younger. Not so much now. And I think it is nice to be able to sort of hear a little bit of surrounding sounds. I think it can affect very much how you shoot and what you're used to. So obviously, we've got the free from the club, your standard earplugs. Screw them up. Now, I've shot with these for a long time. When I first started shooting, I used to find that they didn't really like the way they made me feel. Well, eventually I got used to them. They're obviously cheap as chip. You buy a bag full for whatever. Screw them up, put them in your ear. They really make a difference. It's the cheap option. Tom Miller, he just shoots with these. He's a very good shot. So just because you haven't got a fancy set or a set of ear defenders, it's not going to make any difference. You know, you're not going to suddenly become fantastic. You don't necessarily need the most expensive current thing at the moment. You just need to look after your ears. And obviously with my daughter, it wasn't as big as a concern when I was growing up. Obviously I'm trying to look after my little lady's ears. She doesn't really like having those in her ears. But I shot with those. They were quite good. What else can we say about these custom fit ones? So we've got the user guide. Now, I've got my glasses on today because, this sort of light blue card with the white writing is quite difficult to see. So I've got my glasses on, some very small print. But basically, always read the instructions. You'll find that operating these custom fit guards is a lot easier when you follow the help and advice that is in here. So they came with that. And I've spoken to the chap, always happy to help. So follow the instructions. Now, when you put the batteries in, now, apparently, the batteries, let's have a quick look at these. They come and they've got this little yellow paper. These particular ones have got this little card over the top, like a sticker, and they are air activated. So when you peel off, shall we get one out? Let's get one out. You peel off that yellow tab there, and your battery activates. Now, apparently, the best thing that you can do is pop that tab off and just wait a minute or so for the battery to activate before you start putting it in your earplug. And that gives the battery time to activate. It can affect how long the battery life is in your custom fit guards. So pop the yellow tab off, let them rest for a couple of minutes before you install them. And then they do pop into this little trapdoor. I think it's a fantastic little design how that works. Like I say, I just use this wax thing to get them in and out. Just because I just could have been messing about really. So I pop them out with my little ear wax remover and pop them in. So these batteries, I think I've bought 80 packets or something off Amazon. Great pile of batteries, so I'll never run out of them. I put some in the car, I put some in my shooting bag, and I keep some in my little custom fit ear satchel. So that's the custom fit guards. So value for money, you've got to be doing plenty of shooting, I think, once you start talking nearly £400 for your hearing protection. All things are relative. Like I say, the little earplugs, they're handed out 3 at most shooting grounds. So they're essentially are for free. You can get them. They'll offer you ear protection. and they work really well. If I was to shoot 100 birds, I'd be damaging my ears and I'd probably have a headache. With them in, no problems whatsoever, well worth wearing. And that's those. They can be a little bit sort of discomfort, especially over the course of a few hours, just with the feeling of them sort of expanded in your ear. They're not for everyone. That's the earplugs. Then we've got your good old ear defenders. Now, ear defenders are very good. They cover the outside of the ear. You've got a lot more protection. Quite nice on cold winter's days. Because not only are they keeping your hearing safe, they're also keeping your ears warm. And I must admit, yeah, they're quite nice and keep your ears quite warm. This is just Maeve's little cheap set that I got her when she was little, and she was coming out shooting with me. Nothing fancy in there. They're just a cheap set of ear defenders. Now, ear defenders. I shall get my gun. The problem that I find with my ear defenders is Monte Carlo stock in particular. When I'm out, bang, and you get a tap. Not all the time, but just depending on how you shoot, how you mount your gun, you get a clonking on your ear defenders. So why would you spend your money on your custom fit guards if you want comfy ear protection without the clonk? Different. Just park the gun up for a minute. Different ear defenders have different cutaways. You get some, they've got very nice cutaways. There's SWAT comms, pelters, all these different styles of ear defenders. And some of them have more of a cutout and they're a bit more well suited to shooting. Now, the custom fit guards, obviously the digital ones, if you are on a driven game day or you're game shooting and you're out shooting with other people, then you want to hear what other people are saying to you. It's not as much of a distraction. Or if you're beating and you're in the beating line, you can still protect your ears, but you can still hear anybody who's asking you to move forward in the line, stop, while the rest of the line sort themselves out. Particularly, now I found this with Maeve, because Maeve likes doing a beating, bless her, and I bought her these. Now, these all safes, I think they're about £30 off the internet. Take batteries, you've got a little plug in there if you want to put them on a radio and things. And you just turn them up and down. You can turn them up, and they really are crystal clear. They're very good for like £30. Like I say, you've got the keeping your ears warm. Now, with Maeve, sometimes she wears a hat, a woolly hat in the winter, over the top of her ear defenders. So she'll put her ear defenders on and she'll wear a hat over it. It just depends what suits you. If you're not shooting, it's not as much of an issue. Like I say, mounting the gun, particularly the amplified ear defenders, that's like a proper whack in the ear every time you mount the gun. So that is why I personally have gone for a custom fit guard over a set of electronic ear defenders. In an ideal world, I think I would probably shoot the ear defenders. Even you can see here, we've got this massive amount of space. So compared to the custom fit guard, you know what I mean? We are talking, and actually just pop out, by the way. We've got a little... There isn't the amount of space in that, obviously, as there is in, the earmuffs. So, electronically, yes, things are a bit tight in there. And I think once you start moving up to, like they say, the £699, then I dare say that they are as good as the bigger and more expensive ear defenders. Now, ear defenders, again, these are just cheap £30 ones. I just wanted Maeve to be able to hear. Now, she does struggle a little bit with when you turn them up, and she can hear everything dead well, like a hearing aid, and everything's amplified. She does think that the bang's amplified, even though it isn't. And it's taken some convincing on wearing these that the bang will not be louder as well. But she's got used to that now. And like I say, wind noise, we've got this great big piece of foam here to dampen down the wind. So they don't get the wind noise the same, the ear defenders. Whereas, obviously, the little electronic hearing aids, you've just got the little hole in there and there's no space for any fluff over it. And you need the higher end electronics to sort that out. So, electronic ear defenders, fantastic, especially if you're beating or if you're handling a dog. Keep your ears warm. Sometimes, if the spring's a bit too springy in them, they do sort of, over the course of like a few hours, they're like squeezing your head. I think that is possibly one of the only downsides, other than the gun. If you were clay shooting, now if you're game shooting, you mount your gun about 4 times. You're not constantly. It's not as much of an issue. And like I say, the dearer sets are more sculpted. SWAT comms, pelters, electronic ones. They are some very good ones. Very high quality, crystal clear, fantastic things. So that's the electronic ear defenders. Like I say, we've got your budget ear defenders, which obviously are brilliant at keeping the sound out. But if someone needs to tell you something, they don't want to be shouting across the field at you. We're out hunting. We want to be a little bit more discreet. So that's the problem with those. Same with these. Cheap, save your ears at the end of the day. And then, also, now I have shot these for quite some time, and this is what I have uprated to my custom fit guards. So these were my decibels, and these you mould to your ear yourself. They come in like a plasticine. You warm them up in the kettle. Well, not in the kettle. You warm them up with warm water, and then you mould them to your ears. You can see I've moulded them to ears, but they're not moulded to your ear canal. You only get these little silicone pushy bits. You also can get a different kind of little earpiece. I moulded these, put them in, and to be honest, they're not too bad, but they're not as good of a fit as the custom fit ones, obviously, that have been taken and moulded to myself. And what I tend to find is as I shoot with these in, and I'm shooting away, even though I've moulded them in, they're moulded to my ear, the canal part of the earpiece isn't moulded. And they do sort of rattle loose a bit, the more you're doing particularly. And you just constantly have to just, every now and again you think, well, that sounded a bit loud. And you just have to push them back in. That's the decibels. Same again. They're not a lot of money. They come in a little pouch. They're £30. So like anything, it all depends on what you spend. So the decibels, they're okay. I think I'm doing a bit more shooting, so I felt comfortable spending a little bit more. So that was what I went for. Now then, while we're talking about these things with the safety, glasses. We've got the exact same thing again. Cheap glasses, expensive glasses. Why do we need glasses clay pigeon shooting? Well, when them sharp pieces of clay break, if you've got an incomer, say, and it comes, you need your hat and you need your glasses. I got these ESS ones. I think they're used by the American military. They do actually come with a strap that can go around the back, and basically you need something that's going to fit in your hat, sit on the bridge of your nose properly. Not all safety glasses are the same, so ones that you can shoot with. Now also, you don't want them, as you mount your gun, if you've got a great big set of shades on, your cheek and your eye, it actually comes very close to your stock, and you can get the same problem. You get the gun clunking your glasses. So these ESS ones are designed for shooting, and these are what I've worn for a long time. I bought them off eBay. They come with a number of different lenses. So we've got a clear lens, yellow lens, and I've got these black lenses, or your dark lens. And I tend to just shoot the dark ones if I get a stand that is directly into the sun. Then these are the ones that I do, and I just keep them in my bag and I pop them out, and I've got a proper dark set of glasses. Now then, the Pillas. These are fantastic. A friend of ours bought these a couple of years ago, and we were a bit dismissive, to be honest. And after looking through the Zeiss lenses on his Pilla glasses, I have to say, absolutely blown away. A bit of a build up to buy them. Once you've got them, you've got them. You take good care of them. They should last you forever. But there's a lot of technology. You won't believe it in a set of glasses. So these are the ones that I tend to shoot with on bright days. Use infinite colours. We'll not get into that. I find that this really picks out the orange, cuts down a bit of the light. As you can see, I have a bit of an eye dominance, so I've just got a bit of shading there to stop my left eye taking over. We've got vents here. Now this, basically, it just spaces it off my forehead, and it also lets a bit of air behind the glasses, because you don't want steamed up glasses. We can pop these off. They just clip off, and we can choose whichever lens for the situation that we're in. These can be bent into different positions. Now I have to say, when I got them and I was bending them back here, you can overdo it. So watch out for that. But they don't flirt off your head. They really do grip. They don't interfere with your hat. And this is the same as everything. Once you start getting loaded up, you've got your hat on. Now then, back to hats. This one has got a black inside to the peak. It's a shooting hat. We don't want a fluorescent orange hat shining a great load of fluorescent orange distracting us when we're looking out. So this has got a nice little black inside to its peak, even though it's orange, that's it. It covers my head, any broken pieces of clay, and believe you me, they're as sharp as glass, some of them. You've got your hat, it stops you getting a great big cut in your head, and believe you me, it is painful. Always wear your hat. It also keeps a bit of the sun out with the peak. We can also have his woolly hat on in winter. Does your hat interfere with your glasses? That's another thing. So we've got his glasses on. Does his glasses interfere with his gun? Like I say, any old set of glasses, you'd think. But no, you mount the gun, and like I say, your glasses come quite close to the stock. And you don't want to be knocking them around. So, Pilla have been going a lot of years. I do believe that they're the best. There are other brands now available that are very good, that are catching up with the lens technology. I understand that these are expensive. Do you need to have these? You need to wear your glasses. Do you need pillars? If you're taking it seriously, we can adjust the bridge of your nose. We can adjust where these grip around your head. We can get different sizes. We've got every colour available. These lenses are amazing for clarity, as you would hope at their enormous amount of money. I think that they are. They are very good. I've bought mine now. They'll keep them forever and they'll last really well. So eye protection is a must. Like I say, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Ear protection, very important. There are different levels that we can go for. Pillars, very good. Custom fit guards, fantastic. Like I say, you can go for the next level up, which I think in an ideal world, and I had that sort of money to throw at them, I probably would. But for me, I think I'll go with the passive filter in my custom mould when I'm clay shooting, and I've got these electronic ones. Now, like I say, there's a bit of wind noise and a bit of whistle on the highest settings, but I think for game days, driven days, walked up shooting, they'll be more than fine, and I'll be using those. Thank you very much for joining Outdoor Dad 1, and I hope all these little things have been helpful for you. Oh, one more thing. Little electronic hand warmers. Now, I've got a couple of these. I throw these in my bag, not to be forgotten, and it's in my bag all year round. And on one of them days when it's just a little bit nippy or very, very nippy, I turn this on and I chuck it in my pocket. And I'll just hold that in whichever hand I feel needs it, but normally my trigger hand. And I can just warm my hand up, and then when I get in the stand and I'm ready to shoot, I can feel my finger. Quite important. They're only cheap, like I say, £12 or £20, however much you want to spend. Little hand warmer. Put it in your kit. No better than being able to feel your fingers. Yeah, no, like I say, thank you for joining me once again. If you could like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon, I think, for a driven game simulated day. Thank you. See you again. Ciao.